Thanks for staying with us. Passengers most times have an idea of what the ideal treatment from an airline or airport authority should be. While preparing for this program, we met the president of the Nigerian-Vietnam Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Oye Akishimoy, himself a well-traveled person, who told us that while the international terminal in Lagos remains a massive construction site, the airport authority must deal with the cooling problems.
As you can see, everybody is sweating. There's no cooling facilities. So we have 3 points. There's reconstruction going on, which has slowed down human traffic coming out of the arrival terminal. 2, there is also the fact that there's a lot of hot. The condition is there's no cooling, and thirdly, it's difficult to operate under this sort of environment. So the first thing to do, my opinion, is that a lot of work still needs to be done in improving the facility. Human traffic, there has to be consideration. A lot of people who are coming through are people who have been on very long haul travel. Well, I flew on Qatar Airways, and if you're talking about their in-cabin service, that's fine. Not too much to be expected. It's not your house, so you get, really what you have paid for. If you are in the business class, you get business class service. If you are in the first class, you get first class service. You wouldn't expect too much if you are in the tourist class or economic class. So to that extent, it's whatever you pay for that you get. If you're talking about the services of the airlines, but I'm talking about the infrastructures at the airport for the use of the public, which is what affects everybody. It's a common factor. Whether you are first class or whatever class you are, you have to go through immigration. You have to pass through there's a tunnel that leads out of the aircraft, into the arrival hall. It's very hot.
Still on passenger treatment, here is the General Manager Consumer Protection of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Ify Megwa, telling passengers where they can lay their complaints.
We've done a lot in the area of sensitizing the public about their rights and responsibilities. We have actually come on the airline. Some of them are crying that we are trying to strangle them out of business. It is not so. What we're trying to do is make travel pleasurable for every consumer. Even the airlines are consumers too, because even our Bill of Rights protects these consumers. So we have done a lot in sensitizing the public, in making the airlines come up and take responsibilities when necessary. And in those days in our airport, you find people fighting when flights are delayed or cancelled. You don't need to do anything anymore. Just nicely go to our desk, make your complaints, and we follow up.
Do you ensure that they communicate as they go on with their passengers? Oh, we're going to be delayed, this is the reason. Because we know that most times they come under the cloak of either weather or maintenance.
Yes, we do that. Now we monitor their flights. We have their schedules. So because we know airline A is supposed to depart at 12:00 hours. If at that time you have not departed, we wait for another 10 minutes. If even before 30 minutes before then, we expect you to have announced your departure. And if that announcement has not been made, my people are waiting. 10 minutes before the estimated time, they will go to that office and find out what's going on. Then you will explain. And they are expected to, at that time, announce to the passengers that they are going to have a delay due to whatever reason. And delays could be caused by anything, like you said. It could be weather. The most important thing in airline operation is safety. So we will ensure that the passengers get to their destinations safe. So if a delay has to occur due to maintenance, there is nothing the airline could do about it. If it has to occur for technical reasons, even for weather, in times when the weather really gets bad, you see a lot of flights are delayed over and over until the weather gets better for the aircraft to operate or to fly.
You talked about baggage. Can you tell us how the NCA Act deals with that?
The NCA, as the Civil Aviation Authority, is a signatory to the Montreal Convention. So right now, what we do with baggage is in line with the Montreal Convention. And that convention says that for a piece of baggage that is missing, eventually lost, the passenger is entitled to a certain compensation. various airlines have different baggage policies, but the one that is basic to us as a Civil Aviation Authority is the Montreal Convention, which says that the passenger has to be paid 1,131 SDR. What we call SDR is special drawing rights. And in monetary terms, one special drawing right is slightly higher than $1, $1. So those are the rights of a passenger. So if eventually your baggage is lost, but first and foremost, they will have to track it and trace it. And you're not entitled to baggage loss compensation until the tracking and tracing has been done and they can confirm that that baggage cannot be found.
Most times the airlines do not usually respond. How do you force them to act over baggage losses?
You see, they do. The only unfortunate thing is that we have a largely ignorant group of passengers because some don't even know. I've had cases personally that have traveled and my baggage is even damaged. And you go to the airline and they will replace it or pay you. They have their rates and they have types of baggage. So depending on what type your baggage is, they'll pay you for that baggage if it's broken or damaged. But most times passengers don't know, so they walk away sulking and grieving and complaining.
How does this bill address the issue of people with reduced mobility?
We have actually dealt with that in what we call the PRM regulations, that's passenger with reduced mobility. This bill makes it mandatory for airlines to address this passenger, especially in the area of boarding, before other passengers. And this group of passengers you could call the physically challenged, the people who, the aged, pregnant women, minors, people traveling with infants and all that. They are expected to be boarded before other passengers, and that's what we ensure that airlines do now. If your flight is delayed for more than 1 hour, as a passenger, the airline is supposed to provide you with refreshments, emails, that's opportunity to send an email or an SMS or a phone call. Those are your rights as a passenger after 1 hour delay. But before then, they are expected to inform you why that delay it is. Whatever is the cause of the delay, you have to get that information first and foremost. Then after 1 hour, they give you those provisions. And if your flight is delayed beyond a certain hour, after 2 hours, you can ask for a refund for your money, reimbursements. And the only problem we have in that area is that passengers at times don't even know the process of reimbursement. Your reimbursement is supposed to be in the same mode as your payment. So if you made your payment online, you don't expect to be reimbursed your money cash at the airport. You have to get your reimbursement online too. You go to the airline, fill a form, and they do your transfer. But if you paid cash at the airport, you get your reimbursement right at the airport if you don't want to travel anymore. And you also have a right to be rerouted. The airline can reroute you or reschedule your flight to the nearest possible time or day that their flight will operate.
For the first timer, this aircraft is just one of the oddest looking crafts in the world. Popularly known as the beluga because of its strong resemblance to the white Arctic whale, the Airbus A300-600 ST. ST stands for Super Transporter and is unique not only in appearance but also for the essential role it performs in European aviation. European aircraft manufacturer Airbus has production centers scattered all over the continent, one defining its origins as a pan-European consortium. So each factory specializes in the completion of a specific section of an aircraft. All of the 5 belugas, operated by Airbus, link these plants and take the different aircraft sections to the final assembly line, either in Toulouse or Hamburg. The beluga is operated by a crew of 3, 2 pilots and a load master.
We have a cruising speed a little bit lower than a normal Airbus, of course, due to the shape. And also, we don't like very much high turbulence. and very big crosswind.
Each of the 5 belugas currently in operation are actually Airbus A300-600 jets that have been modified to carry large cargo. The characteristic hump was developed by cutting the top section of the aircraft, and an additional wider fuselage section resembling a bubble was added to the airframe. The cockpit was lowered, making it possible for the cargo hold to be loaded and unloaded through the front of the aircraft. The result is an incredibly spacious cargo hold. Although the Beluga's maximum payload of 47 tons is surpassed by a handful of other cargo aircraft, its voluminous hold makes it suitable for transporting oversized but not particularly heavy cargo, like aircraft parts. The Beluga can carry the wings of an A340 airliner or a fuselage section for Airbus' newest wide-body aircraft, the A350. But it's not large enough to transport parts for the A380 Super Jumbo. Those need to travel by boat, barge, and by road. Belugas have occasionally been chartered to fly satellites, helicopters, and even works of art.
That's where we disembark on this edition. Please remember to reach us on our feedback platform. I'm Bukola Joe-Oketunmbi. See you next week.